This handbook describes the various environmental conditions affecting human survival and describes isolated personnel, activities necessary to survive during successful evasion or isolating events leading to successful recovery. It is the fundamental reference document providing guidance for any USAF service member who has the potential to become isolated. Deviations require sound judgment and careful consideration. This publication provides considerations to be used in planning and execution for effective mission accomplishment of formal USAF survival, evasion, resistance, and escape, SERE, training, environmentally specific SERE training, and combat survival continuation training programs. The tactics, techniques, and procedures in this publication are recognized best practices presenting a solid foundation to assist USAF service members to maintain life and return with honor from isolating events. In an isolating event, the two key requirements for personal protection are maintenance of proper body temperature and prevention of injury. The means for providing personal protection are many and varied, and include clothing, shelter, equipment, and fire, which are all covered in detail in separate chapters. These individual items are not necessary for survival in every situation. However, all four are essential in some environments. Conditions which affect the body temperature, the physical principles of heat transfer, and the methods of coping with these conditions are addressed below. The body functions at its best when core temperatures range from 96 degrees Fahrenheit to 102 degrees Fahrenheit. Preventing too much heat loss or gain should be a major concern for IP. Factors causing changes in body core temperature, excluding illness, are the climatic conditions of temperature, wind, and moisture. As a general rule, exposure to extreme temperatures can result in substantial decreases in physical efficiency. In the worst case, incapacitation and death can result. Wind increases the chill effect, causes dissipation of heat, and accelerates loss of body moisture. Water provides an extremely effective way to transfer heat to and from the body. When a person is hot, the whole body may be immersed in a stream or other body of water to be cooled. On the other hand, in cold temperatures, a hot bath can be used to warm the body. When water is around the body, it tends to bring the body to the temperature of the water. An example is when a hand is burned and then placed in cold water to dissipate the heat. One way to lower body temperature is by applying water to clothing and exposing the clothed body to the wind. This action causes heat to leave the body 25 times faster than when wearing dry clothing. This rapid heat transfer is the reason AP must always guard against getting wet in cold and windy environments. Consider how long a person could survive after their body is totally submerged in water at a temperature of 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Many factors, such as body size, body fat, protective clothing, water temperature, currents, and winds, affect survival time when an individual is immersed in water. Individuals who know they are going to be operating near, on, over, or even in the water should dress to protect themselves from the dangers of cold water and hypothermia. Recent studies by the U.S. Navy provide some insight into predicted immersed survival times that can be used as a guide. Understanding that increasing body mass, body fat, or thermal clothing will, in most cases, increase predicted survival times while decreasing body mass, body fat, or thermal clothing will subsequently decrease predicted survival times. Consider a 170-pound male aircrew member with 19.2% body fat, dressed for the environment. His first layer is standard underwear, boxers or briefs, and a t-shirt. Over this first layer he is dressed in a commercial thermal insulating garment, TIG, long-sleeve top and full-length bottom, made of polyester batting sandwiched between layers of woven polyester microfiber fabric. This is a new version of what many people will remember as Chinese underwear. Next, the aircrew member has on standard wool socks and an aircrew constant wear anti-exposure suit similar to the U.S. Air Force CWU-74/P or the U.S. Navy CWU-62B/P. Finally, the aircrew member has on a standard aircrew flight helmet and jump into the water. Based on the U.S. Navy study, The SERE crew member would have a predicted immersed survival time of 175 minutes or 2.9 hours in 35°F water. The same individual dressed in standard flight clothing of underwear, flight suit, socks, boots and flight helmet would have a predicted immersed survival time of well under 30 minutes. As you can see, dressing appropriately could easily be the difference between survival and fatality. Body heat can be transferred by radiation, conduction, convection, evaporation, and respiration. Understanding how heat is transferred and the methods by which that transfer can be controlled can help keep the body's core temperature in the 96°F to 102°F range. Radiation is the primary cause of heat loss. It involves the transfer of heat waves from the body to the environment and/or from the environment back to the body. For example, at a temperature of 50°F, 50% of the body's total heat loss can occur through an exposed head and neck. As the temperature drops, the situation intensifies. At 5°F, the loss can be 75% under the same circumstances. Not only is heat lost from the head, but also from the other extremities of the body. The hands and feet also radiate significant amounts of heat. To minimize the amount of heat lost, make sure areas of exposed skin are covered, including the head, face, neck, hands, and feet. Conduction is the movement of heat from one molecule to another molecule by direct contact within a solid object. Extreme examples of how heat is lost and gained quickly are deep frostbite and third-degree burns, both of which can happen by touching the same piece of metal at opposite extremes of cold and heat. Heat is also lost from the body in this manner by touching objects in the cold with bare hands, by sitting on a cold log, or by kneeling on snow to build a shelter. These are things which IP should avoid since they can lead to overchilling the body. Handling of liquid fuel at low temperatures is especially dangerous. Unlike water which freezes at 32°F, fuel exposed to outside temperatures will reach the same temperature as the air. The temperature of the fuel may be 10°F to 30°F below zero or colder. Spilling the fluid on exposed skin will cause instant frostbite, not only from the conduction of heat by the cold fluid, but by the further cooling effects of rapid evaporation of the liquid as it hits the skin. Heat movement by means of air or wind to or from an object or body is known as convection. The human body is always warming a thin layer of air next to the skin by radiation and conduction. The temperature of this layer of air is nearly equal to that of the skin. The body stays warm when this layer of warm air remains close to the body. However, when this warm layer of air is removed by convection, the body cools down. A major function of clothing is to keep the warm layer of air close to the body. By removing or disturbing this warm air layer, wind can reduce body temperature. Therefore, wind can provide beneficial cooling in dry, hot conditions, or be a hazard in cold, wet conditions. Evaporation is a process by which liquid changes into vapor, and during this process, heat within the liquid escapes to the environment. An example of this process is how a desert water bag works on the front of a Jeep while driving in the hot desert. The wind created by the Jeep helps to accelerate evaporation and causes the water in the bag to be cooled. The body also uses this method to regulate core temperature when it perspires and air circulates around the body. The evaporation method works anytime the body perspires regardless of the climate. For this reason, it is essential that people wear fabrics that breathe in cold climates. If water vapor cannot evaporate through the clothing, it will condense, freeze, and reduce the insulation value of the clothing and cause the body temperature to go down. The respiration of air in the lungs is also a way of transferring heat. It works on the combined processes of convection, evaporation, and radiation. When breathing, the air inhaled is rarely the same temperature as the lungs. Consequently, heat is either inhaled or expelled with each breath. A person's breath can be seen in the cold as heat is lost to the outside. Thank you for watching.